But if we look at the data protection laws around the world, the emphasis is on data protection. So how do we separate privacy from data protection? At the end of the day, they're one and the same thing. You can't, and in fact, I think any organization that looks at any one in isolation is really fooling themselves. South Africans definitely don't understand POPIA. Almost the good side or the bad side of that is we're not unique. If we look at GDPR in the European Union, after GDPR, they're in the same boat we are. People were saying it took longer to comply, cost more to comply, there was more to it than they thought. And even after the compliance date, big, large, multinational organizations weren't compliant. So what we're seeing in South Africa isn't any different to the trends we've seen around the world. They shouldn't be considering compliance, they should be looking at business benefit. And unfortunately, because it's got a compliance leg to it, because it's seen as a compliance thing, people say, well, that's an overhead. They don't see the benefit to it. So what we've got to try and do is we've got to help people understand what the benefit is, to implement POPIA in a way that you get business benefit, that you improve your business, more streamlined, less duplication, lower cost, but do it in a way that you achieve your compliance requirement. People should be really scared about what happens if the data gets leaked and it gets exposed, and the civil penalties, reputation damage. What's the cost to the business of people no longer trusting your business? I personally think that's a bigger implication than the pure regulatory compliance fines. So if I came to you and said, we're going to implement ComplyIT now, we need people who are going to tell us what type of data you've got, what type of data subjects that you deal with, what type of information do you hold about those data subjects, where it's stored, where you gather it. And that's understanding your data, it's understanding your business. And sadly, we often see people either don't understand their own businesses, or they're so siloed that one person understands this, the next person doesn't, understands that, and they don't understand the information that's flowing from department to department or process to process. So what I would really be looking for is somebody who can bring the right players to the party, who do understand those respective parts of the business, who can give me accurate feedback as to what we've got, because then we can work with it. But the reality is very quickly, and this comes back to your very first question around the link between the privacy tool and the rest of the information security data protection tools. By understanding it, you immediately are getting better. You're understanding the risks, you're understanding what you've got, you're understanding the need to protect it, not just from a privacy point of view. And I think it's also something that we need to explore, is organizations have lots of data. Not all of it contains personal information in terms of POPIA. And all of it needs to be protected. And I think that's an area where people get it wrong. So suddenly they realize this link between all the data, some of which has personal information in it, how that flows through the business, and as soon as they see that and they see the risks attached to it at those different steps in the business, they can start to see where they can improve. So how long to get to a compliance are really tough. I've seen organizations working at this for years, and I've seen smallish organizations doing it in a couple of weeks. To get real business benefit, understanding your information, documenting it, allows you to start making the right decisions what to do with it.
IronTree, your first and last line of defense. Contact sales at irontree.co.za for a demo now.